we've won a big win, 8-0. We've just been trying to piece together what happened. We're not entirely sure.
Yes.
It included you going in goal, scoring a goal while you were in goal, a penalty. So it was quite a sort of chaotic day. Both of the goalkeepers switched over for both teams.
Yeah.
They only started with 10. They went down to 9. But 8-0 is whatever the opposition, and we should say the standard of their players was good.
Definitely.
It was a great result, really.
It was a very weird afternoon of football. I think we went from an incredibly physical, competitive game on Thursday night under the lights, which we loved, to a Sunday afternoon game that just started really positive. They started with 10, which was unfortunate. But obviously you can only play what's in front of you. And then when their keeper went off, maybe after 3 goals for us, and they went down to 9 and had to swap in, you do feel a little bit sorry for a team that has to go through that. Yeah,
and all sympathy to them because they showed up and they kept going, and they did actually put some passages of play. Do you ever feel the clean sheet was in danger once you got in goal?
I can tell you now, I was concentrating more than I have in a game of football for a while, thinking, oh, I'm actually the last player here. And there was a moment when, luckily, it got called for offside, when I'd come out probably a bit too early. And I was thinking they're probably through, and I haven't quite judged this situation correctly. But yeah, the only thing in my mind was to try and keep it as a clean sheet.
Okay, and there was a free kick as well, which you took an unorthodox approach.
No, I just used my feet because that feels like a natural position.
It went away. I mean,
exactly. No,
it was fine. And okay, so I'm trying to think about who scored all the goals, and it's very difficult. But the early stages, did you get the first one?
Got the first one. Lovely ball through from Marta B on the left, I think, came through. Or maybe Marta C. And then that was quite early, maybe in the game, quite convincing.
Marta scored a beautiful sort of chip
goal. She did.
Goal.
That was lovely.
It was a header from Lucy.
Kept running and just tipped it over the keeper, which was delightful.
It was great. Yeah, and I think it was Lucy's header where their keeper got injured as well. So I mean, again, those 3 goals came against, and maybe the 4th one, which was an own goal. That was the first half scoring, and they all came, or certainly the first 3 came while their keeper was still on the pitch, and they still had 10. So in that sense, the game was sort of wrapped up against 10 with a good goalkeeper in goal as well, because she is a good goalkeeper.
Agreed.
So the second half allowed us, I guess, to experiment a bit more. We made a triple substitution, which felt like rubbing it in the circumstances. but Egle and Maria and Julia on.
Yes, well remembered.
So,
You're doing well here.
This is like,
it's a test.
You're far too young to remember the generation game, but you used to have to remember things that went on a conveyor belt.
I've seen it. Yeah.
It feels very much like that.
Yeah.
And then we obviously got a penalty. Taya scored from an incredibly
tight angle. Yeah.
Much discussion about who should take the penalty?
I think Jack Francis is a little annoyed because I think he wanted to be the first person to score in a goalkeeper shirt for Clapton. And he says, oh, you went in for 5 minutes and you got to do exactly what I want to do. It was, I had 2 goals already. The team said, well, this would get your hat trick. So this would be quite nice. Annie Lyons did, as I was running down, say, oh, but what if they counter? And I said, Annie, why do you not think I'm going to score it? So that was quite a fun moment.
Would you have been down to take that penalty anyway? Was it
maybe. Just thinking who else might step up. Becca may have stepped up also if she was here this week. But yeah, I think there's a few people, and maybe I would have said exactly. No, it was probably one thing. It was really, after those first 20-30 minutes when they lost another player, it would have been, we did have a few moments where we probably dropped our tempo and we maybe let their football dominate, and we started to play a little bit like them. But it was really important that this week, we build again for next week, and try and just keep playing the game that we want to play. We can only play who is there, of course, but still try and find our rhythm. And I felt like when we were playing on the floor, Alice Sharp was great at telling us to do this, play the basic, simple football. And every time we did that, we got the joy rather than taking on people because we're suddenly we've got two more players than they do. Yeah, excellent. And I mean, more generally, I think I've missed a couple of games recently, but we're obviously in a really good run.
Then if you take the Brentford out of it, that started at Denham. But it's continuing on. But
yeah,
also kind of different matches and winning in different ways.
Definitely.
Well.
I think it's starting to really gel. Janelle's obviously playing incredibly well in goal. I'm hoping she's going to step back up next Sunday. I can tell you that. I don't want to stay there. Let's put it that way. She's been doing really well. And then I think our back four are really starting to bond, which I think you need that, to solidify and trust each other and the chemistry to come. And then the midfield, we've got a lot of options. But then again, they're starting to find their form. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of desire and a lot of want to win. And Alice actually said, let's make a habit of winning because we were in a habit of losing. So I think we've turned the tide on that, which is nice.
Brilliant. Okay. Sash Mount Lee away.
Next week,
trip to
nice. We love going far south, don't we? But let's hope the kickoff is on time. This time. Yeah. Okay, great. But no, thank you for all the support as usual.
Well, no, it's a pleasure. Obviously going to live long in your memory as well.
It's a memorable afternoon. Let's put it that way.
Brilliant. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Cheers.